back to Cozy's and Dell's custom sheath today. So I thought I'd try and bring you along a little bit for the build, some of the build. So try and, if I can sort of do any tips while I'm here, I'm going to try and do that for you. And hopefully by watching me you might pick up some stuff. So if you are doing a few now I wouldn't recommend this for somebody who's just starting out in leather, but you know, if you've done a few and you're really enjoying it, if you've got a couple of commissions or you've got a couple of things to make for yourself, it's always better to try and work on a couple of things at the same time. You have the same tool out then at the same time, you know, instead of keep putting it back, picking it up sort of thing. It definitely helps with productivity no end. These will have solid brass hardware. I was going to go these, but I think I'm going to go loops with these. Rings, sorry. Yeah, I'll have to punch those out. I'll show you how I'll do that in a minute. Yeah, I'll punch them. Might get away with that one actually, as it is. I still might, but this one definitely is going to need a couple of holes punching. You can go smaller and do it with these, but you have to punch a lot bigger holes. Just need one more. I've got an extremely big belt to do with a nice carving project on, so that's going to be quite nice. Right, what we want there is make a couple of marks. It's a lot easier when you do this with a D-ring. What we'll do then, take the hole punch. I'll try and use this a bit more now, being inside, it's less noise. So, for the neighbours sort of thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a fantastic tool to, you know, it's really expensive and I should use it more. Let's try that. This will allow it just to sit nice, see? So you still get your dangling properties, but I could do with coming in just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit bigger punch and make some noise. Now I've got my marks, it won't be so bad. That's better. Okay, that's sitting much better now. You still gain the extra strength of the loop, you see then. By doing that. And it seats it nicely. Something I've done a lot. So. Okay. Here. This one, I think, just too small. These will be enough for this one. Sorry guys. Okay. Just makes it sit that little bit neater. Just looks that bit neater. Okay. Okay. I did finish both of them. Right. Sometimes when I'm doing a big batch of these, there's like, you know, I've done some for one customer and he's had like 15, and once I've done like 20 sheaths, all the same. Using this process of sort of keeping the one tool out and then you know, so it speeds the process up. Okay. Even though these are, you know, two completely different sheaths, the tools are, you know, all, you know, the same all the time really for certain jobs, so you can get away with doing this, if you know what I mean. Definitely need some burnish in the back of these. A little bit loose, the hair. but I'll put that right. If there's any leather workers watching, and I know there's a couple, I have one guy, you know who you are, he sent me some nice messages, he does his leather work himself. You'll have to excuse me, I can't remember your name, I have quite a few messages I have forgot. And I know I'll sit here all day trying to remember. But you know who you are, mate, and you know, you thank me for the leather working videos and you really enjoy them. Dino, I think. What I'm thinking of doing is if you notice a lot of my videos, I use this tool an awful lot. And what I'm thinking of doing is making a few of these for sale for the leather workers. And I'm also going to make a few round knives as well for the leather workers, and a few cutting knives. I'd like, you know, obviously being the way I am with leather work, you know, I'd like to be able to make some decent knives and decent tools for us leathersmiths. You know, and obviously, because I've been using these tools for such a long time and I use them every day on a daily basis, I should really know now what works and what doesn't, and what will be a good knife and what won't be the best knife for the certain jobs. And this particular Kiridashi is absolutely fantastic for paring down your billet ends. So I'm thinking of making a few of them and putting them up for sale for you leathersmiths out there. So if anybody is interested in something like that, or a specialist leather working tool made, something like this one that I had made by a real good friend of mine, Duncan, you know, just let me know and we could probably work something out. Excuse me, I'm definitely going to make myself another one of these, but a smaller version, as I love that thing. Okay, I've just had venison burgers and they're repeating on me, so excuse me. Right, that's where we're at. Okay, so now it's time for sorting out welts in a minute, and putting my maker's mark on. Okay guys, bye for now. Bring you back for how I do the welts. How I sort out the welts. These e-cigarettes, they're really helping. Okay. Oh, while I'm here as well, Mr. Cozy, I chose and I chose this on purpose, this out of this sheath. It's got a lovely, you know, as it's a camp knife, you know. This is for you, Mr. Keegan, young man, Mr. Keegan. I know you enjoy my videos, and I know you've said that you he spends a little time with his dad sometimes watching my videos on a night time, which is real sweet, and you know, it's great. He likes the close-ups when I do this with the knives. So this is for you, Keegan. Okay, mate? I hope you're okay. So there's yours. He really likes it when I do that, he said in the message. Mr. Cozy, there's a great couple of growth marks in here. Real deep one here, and a real nice one at the back, and I chose these on purpose. Whereas, you know, I thought you'd appreciate that, being what knife it is. Obviously with yours, Del, due to the nature of the knife, you know, the leather on yours is, well, it's extremely clean. There's not a blemish or a mark anywhere, really. Other end, it's very, very, very clean. So, two different contrasts, you know, but they should suit the different knives. Right, okay, so the welt. This is the, now you can do this in leather, but it takes up an awful lot of your leather to do. Same thing, grab a piece of leather. So if this was the leather, run it into your, and I do this sometimes for quickness, but what I've started to do now, just in the leather sometimes, what I've started to do now, it saves wasting an awful lot of leather. And because normally what I do is I just go around the leather like that, cut that piece out, and what I've started to do now instead is draw it out on cardboard, and then take the little cardboard template to the leather, and I find I don't waste nowhere near as much as I used to when I'm doing this, doing it like this. Just hand draw this in. I mean, you can, instead of doing that, what you can do is you can cut this out, the one side first, then run a compass with a little pencil in, and then you can run the compass round the outline of that, and it will separate these at a perfect distance for your welt. I've never really found the need to do that. I mean, you can be more precise like that with it, but for the welt, I'm not used to drawing it around now, you know. Sometimes I'll make it a little bit fatter here, or I'll, you know, it's, you know, sometimes I don't want the welt always uniform. So, what do is we'll cut this out now. It doesn't have to be as exact, your welt, as like with your sheaths. I always, as well, I mean, I won't do it so much now on this piece, because when I cut the welt out too, I always cut an extra piece out on the top, leave extra distance, and then draw from there around that extra bit of leather so that it's perfect. I'll show you what I mean. Right, that's for that one. And we'll take this one, we'll do the same. Made this a little bit thicker than I need, but same again. I mean, as this being, this is a little bit straighter. Probably use the ruler here just to, whoop. Come on, pen. just okay. I only ever use that one for cardboard, you know, and I always keep that one for the leather. I did invest in another little one just to try, see what it was like, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't like it. It'll probably never get used again. It's the same. I do use that a lot, but as you all know, I love my round knives. I suppose it's like anything though, it's what you get used to, what you use the most in the beginning. If I'd have just solely used, you know, a utility or what we call a standing knife from the beginning, then maybe, you know, I still use that an awful lot, mind you, but there's certain things that I really do love my round knife for that I wouldn't want to change. Okay, so see, I can tell here now that's a little bit too long, but I'll cut it out in the leather and then we'll sort that out from there. Okay, so, and like I say, when I cut these out, I leave just a little bit extra up here, about that much, I don't know, 10 mil something, or a bit less or whatever, just so there's always more than needed at the top. Then I'll use the top of the sheath to draw that line and then cut that out then, so it'll be perfect, see. And I'll always leave a little bit extra here, and I'll keep trimming bits off so that my leak hole, my drain hole is about right too. Then I'll go in to open that up with the scratch tool just to make it a little bit neater. So, and I do tend to use, me being my OCD, a certain thing for my welts as well. It's a different leather. If you look at the colours in difference, a massive difference, and if you look, it's different texture and it's a lot firmer. And I find these great. I find this great for the welts. It just stiffens up the sheath a little bit, gives it a little bit more rigidity. Don't always use that, but certain sheaths, especially if they're a bit longer and a bit bigger like this, I'll tend to push for that. And you know, like I've said before, I'm quite lucky in that I can go and you know, pick these things out, which helps. You know, I can feel it and bend it and check that's what I need. Right. So, first one, I've gone back to the pencil because it's not best to draw on your hides with pen at all, really. Especially on the good side. On the flesh side it's not so bad. Just leave that there for a minute. Still a nice bit there, see, for a strap, or you know, coming good for another welt. Probably that will. I'll probably use a strap end and use, so it all comes in handy. You know, like I've said, I call it the scrap bin, but I very rarely, unless it's really small pieces, find any scrap really with leather. I always find a use for them, and if I can't use it for like a project, I tend to use it for, if I get a new tool for new tooling, I use it for checking how sharp my tools are after sharpening and stuff like that. Even little bits like this, you know, I'll use it for going around and checking my edges, or doing a couple of stamps, or you know. I mean, that's a bit small really, but okay. I think I'll get the flute. I mean, you save more leather if you use it this way, you know. But depends which side you like. It doesn't really matter though, obviously. I mean, you can also use your scratch awl for this same application, which works just as well. I've also got some pens that you can actually rub out, which is quite nice too. Thank you, Mr. Andreas. Right, okay. Now when I come to put this in, it'll be you know, that way. I'll show you, rather than the normal way. And I've done that just to save a bit of leather, and to show you that, you know, you can use both ways for the welt. It doesn't really matter. See, I prefer the round knife for this job, but Okay, like I say, a lot more on top. The same here, see, I've left quite a bit on the top. Right, so when this goes in now like this, we'll refine this in a second. I can tell now that quite a bit's got to come off here, but a little bit, a little bit. Okay, what we'll do now is pop that there like that, bring that in. Okay, trim that, check again, see how it's sitting, like this, look. I'll show you what I mean now about that extra bit, so you always get it right. You know, if it's a little bit over or whatever here, it doesn't matter, because you'll cut round that after and trim everything up true, or you'll sand it true. You know, sometimes I'll cut it, sometimes I'll sand it, it depends. If I want a really clean finish, I'll cut it. You get a much better finish, and I find it burnishes better too. If it's cut with a scalpel, or, you know, you've sharpened your knife really sharp, it gives a real nice clean, you know. Right, I can tell now that I've done this backwards to what I normally do it. Okay, what we need is just a little bit off this. Just a little bit. I think. Yeah. Okay, just a small amount. Now we'll put that marking I was on about. See, now you've got the true mark of the top of the sheath, and you should be happy then with. Okay, and we'll chop that off now, making sure we keep to that line. Okay, now I'm happy. Now we've got our welting now, look, and the top's grand. Whoops. We'll do the same again with this one. Like I said, I know it's going to need some off the end, I think. Ooh, only a little bit, just so there's enough for your drain hole. Okay, what I'll do sometimes is, just saves on the old fingers, just take a small little clamp, make sure the end's where you need it to be. Run your welt up. Like I've said, if it's overhanging a bit, it's not always a bad thing. It's better to be cutting the welt than cutting the sheath. You know, just making the sheath smaller. You know, make your welt smaller and then come up to your sheath rather than, you know, the other way around. You know, sometimes I'll leave a couple of mil out on the welt just so that it gives me a chance to chop that off, so it's all nice and flush, or sand it off. Okay. So there's the top of the sheath. We'll make that mark. I'll show you now the difference here. It's quite. Remember when I made the first mark with a pencil? Look how much difference it's come down now when I've actually put it on the sheath and I've cut it out in the leather. You see why I do it that way? If I'd have just took my existing mark, my welt would have come up short. Okay. Okay. Oh, my fingers have had it now. Okay guys, right, I'm going to put my mark on now, and then it's time for dyeing them up, and it's a case of, as you've seen on my other videos, stuff like that goes in the bin, see. You know, stitching up and all the rest of it, and I'm going to burnish these down and make sure all the backs of these are nice and slick and the, you know, that bit of fur's compressed and stuff. Okay guys, bye for now, Lee. Bye guys, new fag arrived, my new Vapor. Well pleased with this one. It's called Aqua something, and you can adjust the vaping strength. Great. I mean, I still wouldn't want to endorse that for the kids, but it's better than me sitting here smoking a roll up. So, right, finishes have just gone on. I've given them a little buff. You can't beat proper wool for this. And for getting the pigment off. I've not found nothing better to do this job. It's not something I've really publicised before, but you know, I'm doing it now. But it does make a big difference. As you can see, it's real darkened down. Mr. Cozy, I'll give you my tiger stripe effect, which will look real nice with this. As you can see, I've done yours a little bit more than my 2-finger rule due to the size of the knife, so I've left yours out just a little bit more. Yours Del, and for Mr. Barry, I know you wanted a nice deep saddle tan, so you've had a custom colour for yours, which really suits. Finishes I've applied, it's had a little bit of Aussie leather conditioner first. One other little thing that I use that I tend to keep to myself, and some Caranuba cream. You know, it's a mixed blend of waxes that I put together that I use to help repel water from my sheaths. You know guys, I share massive amounts with you, but just a couple of things that I've always wanted. You know, you need to keep a few little bits. You know, it is my bread and butter, and you know, the dyeing process I keep, because it's a bit different to what most do. Because it's not a wet mould. It's a part mould, part friction, and that's something else I've kept. That's why I don't do that process. But that's the other finishes. So you know, so it's a leather conditioner, and I use to help remove the pigment and a bit of buffing. It's some wool, proper wool, which, as you can see, really pulls off the pigment, and even with the waxes you can still get a real nice shine. I've not gone so mad with yours because I want to keep it a more of a rustic look, but it's still there. Okay, right, so now you know, just normal Caranuba and fibings of the leather conditioner. So okay, welt time. As always, I've done the tops. I'm just going to give the tops another lick with the darker edge dye, which I know is a bit hard to get, but you could do it with edge coat, or just apply quite a few coats of like the dye you're using, which will sort of give the same effect. It just won't burnish as well. It'll give the same look. It's just this stuff I find real good for the burnishing side, and that's why I've always kept it. When I knew it was going, I bought quite a bit of it, you know, so it'll last when it goes, when it all runs out. I don't know what I'm going to do then, but it was the same with the shellac. You can't get that no more neither. And that's another great product. Something to do with our laws with the shellac. Why they discontinued the edge dye, I don't know. I bought a good few litres of it, so I'm not sure why. they've done that. I always burnish the top of the welt, and I press down quite hard, and what it does is it folds over the edges just slightly, so when you come to compress the sheath together, it'll squash them folds down and you get a much neater fit. Hope that makes sense. I suppose, as they say, guys, it's the what do they say, it's all in the detail. It just helps you, it just helps set you apart from all the leathersmith's work. But by me giving you all these tips, it's not really going to set me apart anymore, is it? But that's okay. Okay. Now, like I say, I normally like the, what I call the good side up first, and you know, this side we've done it the other way around to save a little bit of leather. It doesn't really make a difference. It's my OCD, just wanting things done the same way. As you can see now, I hope you'll see what I mean when I squash it down. See how it gives a real nice fit. The finish is great by squashing them edges over a little bit. When you come to squash the two together, you know, it just sits neater, in my opinion. Okay, so what we want here now is we want to rock this up to the top. Test it. I've not done the danglers for these yet, I'll do them separate. Rock these up to the top, get a little pencil. Just going to mark there my scratch awl, just lightly mark, so I can see where the top of that welt's going to come. And then before I do all this, I've got to add the D-ring and sew the belt loops on. So I'm doing this a bit, well, I wouldn't say it's backward, but it's not normally the process. I'll normally do that first and this after, but while I'm here doing it now, so I can explain it to you, I can just get it out of the way, and then when I come to, I pay even more attention with the keying at the top part where the welt goes than I would anywhere else, because if anything's going to come away a little bit, it's going to be there. So I really do, you know, pay real attention to that. Okay, so what we want now, before I forget, and I've done this quite a few times, and I suppose a lot of other leathersmiths have too, don't forget to put your ring or your D-loop on before you sew it on. So if you have done that, and you're probably giggling right now, because you probably have, just because I do this a lot, and maybe some people hold me in such high regard with this type of stuff. Trust me, I've done that an awful lot. Not paying attention, sewing the belt loop on, looking at it all great, and then thought, oh, belt loop. So, you know, we all do. The best of us make these mistakes all the time. Obviously, I don't do it as much now as I used to, but I still do it from time to time, especially if I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. And I have found the camera at times can cause me to do stuff like that. I don't know why it shouldn't, but it does. Okay. See how I'm now? I could have gone straight on and done this without carried on with the first sheath, but if you've noticed, because I've already got this tool out, rather than put it back and then have to pick it up again to do this sheath, do these two processes in one. It's the same when I come to key these two now, I'll do that in one with the same tool, because I've already got it out. It saves going back. It just really helps speed up your productivity. That's all I do this type of stuff for. You know, maybe when you're starting, just continue working on your just the one sheath until it's done. Okay, I think my dinner's about to arrive, so I'm going to cut you off for now, guys. Bye for now, Lee. Hi guys, just finishing these up now. Custom sheath for Dell. plain holes put in. Last burnish. So I'd share this with you, this last bit. They're all done now, as you can see. The fit, Mr. Cozy. Oh yeah. All I've got to do there, I've just got to burnish the edges, and got about these. Burnish the edges and finish their belt loops, but as you can hear, does that sound? That sound? This is perfect. It'll break in lovely, this will. I'm just going to paint their edges now, and I'll do a little bit with you. When I'm applying this, I try not to dwell too much in the one area when I first put it on, because you'll always have quite a bit on the brush, and that's when you can make mistakes, because it'll overrun. This does take a little bit of practice to be able to just, you know, paint it on the edge, but as always, take your time, and practice on a bit of scrap first. I'm on the film in a minute, Bob.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, sweetheart. So I've got a bit of an headache. Changed the liquid on my e-cigarette, and I think it's not agreeing with me, and it's giving me a bit of an headache. My head at the minute's really pounding, but this is important. Okay. Okay, there we go. As you can see, all the edges equal, all neat, no overrun. Just let that dry. Do the same, Stevens. I didn't bring you through the stitching, as you know, you've seen me stitch a lot, you know, with these stuff that I do, so you do have to be really careful, especially when you're doing this on a light sheath like this, because obviously this being really black, if you were to slip or overrun on something like this, it's really going to show, and it's going to make it look terrible. what I'd say is just get your scrap, get your brush, find one that you're comfortable with for this procedure, and just keep practicing, you know, just dyeing the edges in. You can do this with a dauber. I've never found the dauber to be like a brush for this for me. I have done it with a dauber a few times. It's quicker. Is it neater? I'm not so sure. Okay, there we go. It's got them lovely growth marks in this. Here, big one here, and a big one at the back. There. It's really rippled here, the sheath is. It's great. Okay, so let that dry, and I'm just burning the edges. So I have these paracetamol, burnish the edges of these, give them their finishes, and pop them on, and we'll be away. Okay, bye for now, Lee. What I'll do is, if I get chance, I'm going to try and do some pictures of these today, and I'll get these out tomorrow. I'll pop your glass plating in as with it as well, Del. Okay, bye for now. A big day today. I'm sorting out my table and everything for my milling machine today, so I've got a member of my family coming round to give me a hand with that, and we'll get all that prepared and get into. It's going to be a bit hectic over the next couple of weeks because my other shop's not nowhere near finished to accept all my other machinery yet, so I'm going to be running up and down, up and down, up and down. It's going to be a bit crazy, but I'll have to deal with it until I can afford to put all the rest of the stuff in. You know, kitting something out's not cheap with new tables and all stuff like that, so it's going to have to come bit by bit until eventually, you know, it'll all be as I want it. So okay, bye for now all. Lee.